Hi, welcome to Table Talk. I'm your host, Karen Wilson, and we've got a great show for you today. We're doing a Zoom conference with the Tennessee Wildlife Federation, and I've got Mr. Matt Simcox. He is the manager for Hunters for the Hungry, and we also have Taylor Martin, and he is the manager for the Hunting and Fishing Academy. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Good to be here.
All right. Well, Matt, we're going to start with you and talk about the Hunters for the Hungry. Actually, we're going to step back a little bit and let's just talk about the role of the Tennessee Wildlife Federation. What do they do for us?
Absolutely. Well, the Tennessee Wildlife Federation was founded in 1946. So it's been around longer than you and I and most of the people watching. It was founded in Chattanooga, Tennessee, back when there were not game and fish regulations, and a bunch of outdoor writers and lawmakers got together and said, we have to do something about this, because at that time there were hardly any deer population. There were little to no turkeys, wild turkeys, and there were no elk. The elk had been hunted out for about 150 years. So they came together, they formed the Tennessee Wildlife Federation, at that time known as the Tennessee Conservation League. And in 1949, passed the legislation to get the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency, which we know today is the Lawmakers for Wildlife, created. The commission was created then. So we've had ever since our beginning, we were started and created with a purpose, and we're still following that purpose of conservation in Tennessee out today.
Well, I've noticed just from your website alone how the programs, I was very impressed with all the number of programs that you all have to preserve the environment and also to teach our youth. And so, Matt, let's go back to my second question. With Thanksgiving and the holidays coming up, let's start with the Hunters for the Hungry program. What's the program, and tell us about how it helps feed our hungry?
Absolutely. I've been a part of this program and managing this program for a little over 13 years in Tennessee. So this program was started in 1998, so it's been around just over 20 years, and I've been fortunate enough to be a part of it for over half of its life in Tennessee. And, you know, with what we do with Hunters for the Hungry, it's a simple program with a lot of moving parts, but as far as hunters are involved, deer hunters can donate any of their deer that they harvest throughout the year to one of our participating processors. Now, all of our processors are Tennessee Department of Ag certified, so we require that because it is a state law to be licensed and certified to process deer, but also it ensures the highest quality of finished product going out to our hunger relief organizations. This year with COVID hitting, we have heard time after time. I've met with food banks, I've met with the large food banks all the way down to the small churches in rural areas that are trying to feed people. The need is so great this year, and some people realize this, some people have no idea what's going on, but with the COVID hitting, a lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people couldn't afford gas to go to grocery store. They couldn't buy groceries. They couldn't even buy gas to go to the food pantry to pick up a free box of food. So that's putting a lot of pressure and a lot of need on these smaller organizations, because their heart's in it to feed people. They truly are servants. Anybody that is willing to give up their life to help feed people is a saint. And so they're spending a lot of their resources to go out and deliver this food and make it available to people. In Tennessee, 1 in 5 people go to bed hungry every night. It's something that we don't think about in our state of Tennessee. With COVID, we're seeing that number being highly impacted because more and more aren't. And so this year, we're really asking our deer hunters to make a difference, to make an impact. All you have to do is harvest a deer, which we know that license sales are up this year. More people are planning on hunting. More people are getting outside because they've been locked up in their homes for weeks. And we're seeing everything from rifle and hunting gear sales having record numbers to license sales having record numbers. So we're asking hunters, if you're going out and hunting, then please consider donating, because we can promise you there are people that live, you know, we're talking to a rural area here, but there are people within 5 miles of you that are going to bed hungry every night. Every deer that you donate to our program will provide 168 servings of lean, high protein venison to those that really need it. We keep everything that's donated local. So we, you know, a lot of people think that this program is collecting this meat and taking it to the big cities, Nashville, Knoxville, Chattanooga. I hear that every year, and that is far from the truth. We partner with local hunger relief organizations. We try to find one in the county where the processor is, although we serve a lot of counties that don't have a processor in their county. We are able to get that meat spread out to the rural counties that need it the most. So this year with COVID, we're just pleading with hunters, please donate a deer to this program. In everywhere except West Tennessee, hunters can, when they have their deer processed to bring home to their family, when they pick that meat up, they can hand over to the processor that's in our program meat from their deer. That's called our Pounder Pack Initiative. So you don't have to donate a whole deer. You can donate 1 pound, and that 1 pound will go to a family and provide 4 servings of protein.
That's great to know. Matt, I know our viewers are in White, Warren, Van Buren, Grundy, and Coffee counties. And we talked a little bit before about the struggle to get processing participation, but there are some fairly close areas with processors. Let's mention some of those.
Absolutely. So the closest probably is going to be Sue's Processing and Taxidermy. They're in Liberty, so they're in the south side of DeKalb County near Center Hill Lake, which is not too far from McMinnville area. We also work with Cersei's Deer Processing in Putnam County. They're near Baxter area, so right off the interstate. We work with Mountain Whitetails up in the Monterey area. We work with a couple in Cumberland County. A full list is on our website. You can go to tnwf.org, click on Hunters for the Hungry, click Find a Processor. We even have the technology on our website where it will pull up your location, either on a computer or a smartphone, and it will show you the closest processors to you.
Matt, before the program, we were talking about a great way to get students involved, and that's through a program you all have called the Hunger Challenge. Let's talk about that.
Absolutely. So the Hunger Challenge was created about 6 years ago, and it started in Memphis, Tennessee with 2 private schools. From there, it's expanded all across Tennessee. And what the Hunger Challenge is, it's a club, a school club, that high school students can get involved with Hunters for the Hungry. All we ask is that we have an advisor at the school to oversee their activities, and we challenge students to volunteer in their local community to get service credit hours. We ask them to either go hunting or tell their friends and family members to hunt and donate deer to the program. Now, the Hunger Challenge Club earns points on every deer they donate, every dollar that they raise as a club, and every opportunity they do where they're out doing community service. And at the end of the hunting season, in about March or so, we will collect all of the scores, the totals in, and then we award a statewide overall winner as well as a school winner for every region in the state. And this is a great way for students to feel empowered to give back to their community. in the program's history, students have raised over $120,000. They volunteered over 6,000 volunteer hours that they can put on their college resumes. And they've literally fed 500,000 people with the meat and the support that they've done. So I tell people all the time that just because you're a high school student, I mean, we've all been there, you can make a difference in your community as a student. We've heard great stories and testimonies from students that have been a part of this program, that when they apply at a college that they really want, that's the one thing that the college advisor will mention in their onboarding interview is their involvement with Hunters for the Hungry. So we encourage teachers, if you're watching, or students, if you're watching and would like more information, everything is on our website about the Hunger Challenge. We even have a link on there where an advisor can sign up. And then once they sign up, we are notified, and then we can contact them to talk about it. Or my contact information is on there. If they would like more information, then feel free to email or call me and we can discuss it. I know with a lot of COVID restrictions right now, we can't go to high schools and visit, but we can set up Zoom interviews with teachers. Tomorrow I have a Zoom conference call with about 5 teachers in West Tennessee to talk about this. So it's a great thing.
Wow, that is so impressive. And what a great way to get student involvement and participation from students that may not fit into the football team and the band and things like that. So that is wonderful. And as you mentioned, anybody that would be interested in starting this program at their school, like an advisor, would just need to get on your website. Is that correct?
Absolutely. I'd love to talk to them about that.
And of course, we know the interest level. We are serving rural communities here, and the interest level is going to be tremendous because hunting and fishing is such a big thing here. Let's talk about some other ways that volunteers can help out with programs. One is coming up, Deer Coin Christmas, and people are thinking about giving back. So let's talk about that, Matt.
Absolutely. So the idea of the Deer Coin was born because I got a phone call one day about the fact that a hunter can donate their deer to a processor, and a hunter can even donate the fee to process that deer for us. Right now in Tennessee, all over the state, we're fortunate enough to have funding available to process any deer that is donated free of charge to the hunter. But there are some people that would like to take it a step further and would like to make a contribution to Hunters for the Hungry, or encourage one of their friends or family or business partner or clients or church members to get involved with the program. So we developed these deer coins, and the deer coins are basically a wooden nickel that you can purchase on our website for $50. That $50 is a tax deductible contribution to the Tennessee Wildlife Federation. And you can take that deer coin to any processor in Tennessee. And when you go to donate a deer, you can present that deer coin, and that deer coin comes out of the separate pot of funding to pay that processing. We've seen churches buy them for their congregation. Anybody that hunts, we want you to get involved. And so take these deer coins and donate deer. We've seen hunting clubs buy them, and they leave them at their lodge or whatnot. And so anybody that donates, that harvests the deer and wants to donate it, they can take that right away. We've had real estate agents that buy them for some of their clients. So you can see how they're great stocking stuffers. But they last, each deer coin lasts the entire deer season. So there's no limit. They can purchase it now and they can use it until the last day of hunting season. They're redeemable for a donated deer. So it's just a fun little thing that we added to the program. And a lot of people get excited about them. We've had some that have purchased them every year, and they hold on to them because they're kind of a little collector's item, if you will. But we hope people we hope people will redeem them.
So
And
what you could do, I guess, is purchase the coin. You can give the coin to the hunter that you love,
mhm,
and they give it to the processor. Could you also just purchase coins and send them to the processor to help pay for
absolutely,
things that people may turn in?
absolutely. And in the past, someone has had number, we hand number every coin. So every coin is one or whatever out of 200 or 250. We've had some people that say, well, this number is significant to me, so could you number it this number? And we track everywhere, everyone that purchases a coin, we track where that number coin is going to. And if they redeem that coin, they can call me at the end of season and say, I redeemed this coin, and we will track that down. Either the processor has it or they mail it to us, and we'll send that back to the person just to commemorate their deer season and their donation of a deer.
Okay. Now we're going to pick up with Taylor, who was going to talk to us about another great program that goes on with the Tennessee Wildlife Federation. The first one that kind of piqued my interest on your website was the Hunting and Fishing Academy. Taylor, talk to us about the goal of that program.
Yeah, so the goal of the Hunting and Fishing Academy is pretty simple. It's really to create the next generation of hunters and anglers. Across the nation, there's been a decline in the number of people who hunt and fish. And to a lot of people, that may not seem like a very big deal or a potential problem. But what that means is there's less funding for conservation on a national and state level because the North American conservation model is all based on hunters contributing to it either through the purchase of hunting and fishing licenses or the purchase of hunting equipment like firearms, ammunition, and things like that. So when there's less people hunting and going out there buying these licenses, there's less funds going into the conservation pot. And not this conservation money doesn't just go towards the management of game species like deer, turkey, waterfowl, but they also go into maintaining wilderness areas like state parks and public places like that for anybody that enjoys the outdoors, whether that be kayakers, birders, or just hikers going through a state park. So my program, the Hunting and Fishing Academy, is really geared towards kind of jump starting that next generation of hunters or anglers to revitalize the conservation fund to make sure there's long-term funding for conservation efforts across Tennessee.
I never realized that. So it's in all our interest. If you like nature at all and love being outside, it's in all our interest for the people to hunt and fish as those licenses help maintain our parks and things like
Mhm.
that. Did not know that. What are some of the things that participants can learn in the academy? Tell me kind of what do you cover?
We cover a wide range of topics. Hunting and Fishing Academy is pretty much a program that runs 365 days out of the year. Right now, this time of year, we're really focused on deer events. Deer season's opening up. The opening day rifle's not too far away, and but we do waterfowl, squirrel, rabbit, turkey. We have a number of angling events. We'll do catfish or panfish. So we really have something that might just pique everybody's interest from small game all the way up to large game in Tennessee. Because not everybody wants to hunt the same things. And depending on what part of the state you're from, Tennessee is one of the most diverse states of the lower 48 in the entire country. So depending on where you are, might determine what you can really hunt in your area. So we try to cover an entire range of species.
Had I not lived in a subdivision, I would say there's some awesome squirrel hunting at my house. They love the bird feeders, but it'd probably be better off not to send hunters there since there's so many houses around and stuff. But
Maybe
uh,
not.
there's been times where I thought about getting my hunting license just to get rid of a few of those little critters. Let's talk about the age groups. Is this for just for kids, or what does the typical age of the person attending the academy look like?
A lot of our events are geared towards youth, ages 9 to 16, 17. Um, We have the age limit of 9 on there for our hunting events because that's the youngest age someone can complete the hunter safety education that's required to hunt in Tennessee once you turn 10 years old. But we are starting to branch out into other age divisions. We just finished up our first adult only program here in Nashville, where we taught about 15 adults how to go deer hunting on public land. And we're also going to be launching a number of virtual trainings that anybody in the state can attend to learn how to hunt deer, turkey, whatever that topic, the topic of that webinar might be.
Yeah, I would think with retirement and even with, like you said, people being home with COVID, can't get out, more people taking that on, older people even. So that's good. The Academy is addressing that and picking up some of the older demographic that may want to take on hunting. So let's say somebody signs up for the Academy. What does a day at the Academy look like?
It really depends on the event that they've chosen to attend. For our in-person events, we have experiences that range from a half day to a full 3 days event. But for a 3 day event, you arrive usually on Friday afternoon, and we have dinner, everything ready. We usually try to incorporate the wild game that we're hunting that day. So for a lot of our deer hunts, I know deer chili's on the menu for that Friday night. And then we'll start to get to know everybody because these experiences aren't large scale. They're usually only about 4 to 5 participants, and if they're youth, they have their parents with them as well. But it's supposed to be very hands-on instruction, so it's a more of an intimate setting, and get to know everybody. And then we camp out a lot of times if the partnering landowner that is helping us provide a location for us to hunt has a lodge, we stay in the lodge, or if not, we do primitive camping. And we camp out, and then the next morning we'll get up and we'll go hunt. Everybody that is there as a participant has a trained guide with them to help them learn the ropes, like tell them, this is why we're going out here. This is what we're expecting to see based on all the weather conditions and everything. And they'll go out hunt for the morning. And then when everybody comes back, we feed them again. And then we do some education things. Usually if somebody was able to harvest a deer, we go, or any animal, we talk about how to properly field dress it and get everybody's kind of hands-on experience through that process. Some people shy away from that, but that's part of it, learning how to do everything like that. And then the process kind of repeats itself from that point forward. We'll go hunting again in the afternoon, come back and talk about the day. And we always like to have a reflective period at the end of our hunt, so we call them fireside chats. Where everybody gathers around the campfire and really talk about what they've experienced. And for a lot of these people, this is their first hunting experience and could be their very first harvest of anything. So them getting to talk about everything they felt or experiencing that is usually a pretty powerful moment for everybody.
Wow, I'm fascinated by that. In fact, sign me up. How much is it to participate in the Academy?
Like I said, it varies from the event. It's based on that kind of half day model. So if it's a half day hunt, it's $25 per participant. So if it's a youth event, that'd be $25 for the parent or the youth and the parent. And that scales up depending on how many days of it. So a 3 day hunt with us would be $150 for the participant and $150 for the adult. And we know that that seems pretty steep, but that provides everything you would need for that entire weekend. And we have scholarship opportunities available too. So if somebody really wants to go on this hunt but might not have the financial means to, they can reach out to us and we can move them through that scholarship process.
That is awesome. That is a great weekend, and really actually not that bad when you think about the price of camping and your food's provided and things like that, plus all the skills that you're learning when you go on the hunt. So for those that we have a lot of seasoned hunters in our area, and they may be ready to give back, what are some of the volunteer opportunities that they have?
Yeah, so similar to Hunters for the Hungry, Hunting and Fishing Academy is completely volunteer based. We rely on our volunteers to have these events, whether they're guiding or organizing the event themselves. So if someone's out there that's listening that is a hunter and they've reached a point in their hunting career where they've harvested the big deer, they've harvested a lot of ducks or whatever they hunt, and they want to give back and help create that next generation of hunter or angler, they can volunteer with us, whether they just want to come and guide with us or actually take the person out into the woods to teach them what they know. They can do that. And then we have what we call hunt masters. Hunt masters are our trained volunteers. They come to a one-day training with us, and they learn how to organize one of our events, where they can help us find a landowner to hold the event and work with them to say, hey, we want to put on a youth deer hunt on your property. Would you be willing to donate your property to this program for the weekend? And we help them through that process. And then we have some people that volunteer just to come cook at some of our events, especially those events where we're doing primitive camping. It's a primitive kitchen and everything out there as well. And we've had a lot of people that say, hey, I don't know much about hunting, but I'd love to come out there with all my cast iron Dutch ovens and cook for y'all that weekend. So they come on that way. And then, like I said, also, a lot of these hunting events are held on private land, especially with new hunters. We feel like that's a better environment to teach them than taking them on public land for the first time. So we're always looking for people to donate their property for us to use for the weekend, to have any type of hunt. We have some landowners that might only have 20 or 30 acres, but we have a squirrel hunt on their property, or we do a rabbit hunt out there, or they have a pond and they let us come fish it. So the opportunities are pretty much endless of how you want to get involved with Hunting and Fishing Academy.
All right, that is great information. And I will say also, we need to talk about advocacy issues with the Tennessee Wildlife Federation. Just quickly in wrapping up, you have a lot of things that you push for in preserving our nature and our wildlife out there, and things that are great initiatives. Let's talk about those.
We have a wide range of advocacy projects, and if anybody wants to see, because these are constantly changing, they can go to our website at tnwf.org/policy and see everything that we're working on. But we have a number of issues right now with the Share Our Rivers, which is working with the agency and commercial paddlecraft rangers to make sure that our public waterways are being used in the best way that affects everybody who wants to kayak, and the anglers and the fishermen who use those rivers to fish. And we also are big on the Asian carp policy right now, of trying to control that invasive species that's made its way into Tennessee waterways.
Well, I will say, guys, you've been very informative, and for someone who does no hunting, and my husband is not much of a hunter either, you have piqued my interest in attending these things and really pushing kids for awareness and education about it. That's what you guys are all about, and so proud of all the initiatives you do to keep our rivers clean. That is such a draw for our area here. The kayaking, the fishing, and keeping the rivers clean is imperative to keeping people coming here to spend their money, to spend the day. It's great for the economy, and we want to keep the rivers clean and keep them safe for everybody. But I will say to both of you, thank you both for being on Table Talk today. You guys have been very patient with our Zoom issues and things like that, and are just pros. So with that, I will thank our audience for joining us today on today's Table Talk. If you have any questions that we've not addressed and you want to see all the great programs going on with the Tennessee Wildlife Federation, check their website out. If you didn't catch it when we were talking, Google it. It'll come up very easily. So with that, thank you again, and we'll see you next week for more Table Talk.